The Cinema 4D interface is simple yet extremely powerful. All the tools you need are readily accessible in the main screen, making it one of the most comprehensive interfaces of today's 3D applications. The View window provides a visual feedback when testing the render of your work in progress. You can see the scene and the models in full 3D, orbit around the scene, get closer, and look at them from different angles using this window. Other views become available when using the navigation control buttons. The navigation buttons are located on the top right side of the View window to help you navigate the 3D scene. The first three icons represent the pan, the zoom, and the orbit. You can also use the shortcuts, the numbers 1, 2, or 3, while pressing and dragging the mouse to pan, zoom, and orbit around the 3D scene. The last icon is the Change View icon. This is used when you want to change the view to an isometric view such as the front, top, or side views. The selection tools help in the precise selection of objects, and especially useful when editing polygonal objects and their components. The Live Selection icon has a little black triangle in the bottom corner indicating that there are additional tools that can be revealed while you press and hold the mouse. Here we can see the additional selection tools such as the rectangle, the lasso, and the polygon selection tools. The transformation tools correspond to the move, the scale, and the rotation for the manipulation and transformation of objects. You can also use the keyboard shortcuts E, T, or R to select each of these tools. The Access Lock buttons toggle the restriction of transformations for individual access. Use the keyboard shortcuts X, Y, and Z to enable or disable the restriction on the corresponding axis. The Coordinate System is a toggle button to switch between the local and the global coordinates. This button is extremely helpful when trying to modify the position and rotation of an object accurately anywhere in the 3D world. The render tools provide a way to test render your work in progress, and when you click on the render settings, you can set the quality of the render and other options such as ambient occlusion or the object buffers used in compositing and rendering of the final image in After Effects CC. Keep in mind that Cinema 4D Lite is not able to render images or movies directly to your computer hard drive. It uses the SceneAware connectivity to render the 3D scene in After Effects CC. You can see the quality of your render in Cinema 4D Lite by using the keyboard shortcut Command R to render the current frame to the View window. The Cinema 4D Objects is a complete collection of objects that can be used in a 3D scene. The parametric or geometric objects offering basic shapes, terrain, and other custom shapes. The splines objects that include Bezier, cubic, and freehand. Here you will find the text generator and parametric splines fully customizable. The NURBS objects to create organic models using any number of spline objects. The modeling objects to help you replicate or propagate your base model in the scene. The deformer objects can be used for animation or to generate new shapes from the original 3D model. Tools to add atmosphere or environment generators are found in the environment objects. And we haven't forgotten the cameras. Very flexible and easy to customize, it also includes a camera for stereoscopic work. And finally, objects for illumination. The lights objects offer many options to create any type of illumination rig. The Object Manager is where all of the objects used in the 3D project will be located. Here you can add or remove objects, name, organize, create hierarchies, add textures to objects, enable or disable the visibility or the rendering ability of objects. The Cinema 4D tags are special features or characteristics that can be added to an object in the Object Manager window. You can add one or several tags to an object. There is a whole variety of tags. Some are related to animation, others may change the look or appearance, and others may have an effect at render time. Some tags commonly used are the compositing tag, the texture, the target, font, and UVW tags. The Attribute Manager provides all the necessary parameters to modify the characteristics of an object, texture, keyframe, tool, selection tool, tag, or anything else that may be active. The Attribute Manager changes constantly and displays the corresponding parameters depending on the object or tool that is selected at that particular moment. Right now we're looking at the attributes for the spotlight, and to be more precise, we're looking at the Shadow tab and its parameters. All of the parameters that are being displayed at the moment are related to how we can modify the shadow of the spotlight. The Coordinate Manager gives us information of the exact location of our model in several ways, and we can modify its transformation using exact numerical values when necessary. The Materials Manager is where all of the materials are created, imported, saved, and they can also be removed. Here you can create very simple color materials or very complex and realistic, and each material is represented by its own thumbnail. You can drag and drop a material onto an object that is visible in the viewer window or in the Object Manager. The Mini Timeline is a simple yet powerful section of the interface that displays instant feedback during the creation and editing of keyframes. With easy-to-use playback controls, project duration parameters, selective animation options, and plenty of shortcut commands to help you do most of the keyframe adjustments without visiting the more complex editing timeline window. The snapping icon is by itself a toggle switch that can be enabled when needed. When you enable snapping and click and hold its icon, you will be able to place any object accurately in 3D space and in relation to other objects, thanks to the multiple functions that become available. The component tools allow the selection and editing of the individual components that make up an editable polygonal object. The basic components of all polygonal objects are the points, edges, and faces. To select and modify the components, simply enable the component tool and use a selection tool to move, scale, or rotate it. The Texture Mode tool is used when the projection of a texture needs visual and interactive adjustments. This tool is effective when the projection of a texture is spherical, cubic, or cylindrical, and the transformation tools can be used to move, scale, or rotate its projection angle. Click to select this tool and see the results of the modifications immediately in the viewer window. This was a very brief tour of the main parts of the interface in Cinema 4D Lite, and when you get familiar with the workflow, the interface will prove to be fluid and friendly, especially if you're a beginner using a 3D application like Cinema 4D.